New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents a weekly exploration of various spiritual practices with renowned spiritual authors, coaches, teachers, and Dr. Tracy Brown, RScP.
And now, here's Tracy.
Hey everybody, Tracy Brown here. Right here. Are you here too? Come on, let's have some fun today with poetry, prayer, and practice, where every Tuesday we get an opportunity to reflect on poetry and is it a spiritual practice or does it inspire spiritual practice? Poetry, prayer. How can we use prayer? How can we recognize the power of prayer? How do we enhance our use of prayer? And practice. Yes, so many things can be spiritual practice. And so depending on the theme, depending on the focus, depending on the energy that's happening every week, we dive into one or more of those. And today on Poetry, Prayer, and Practice, as a result of a variety of things that have been happening in my life, we are going to explore our current and our desired willingness to receive. Our current willingness to receive and our desire to expand our willingness and ability to receive. Now, I could probably spend 10 or 15 minutes telling you all the things that have happened in the last few days that have brought this topic up to the forefront of my mind and my activity. But I won't do that. I'd rather us just really begin to explore the topic. However, the conversations that I've been having with people has just reminded me of how easy it is for us to block our own blessings, giving blessings and receiving blessings. And in conversation with others around this topic, or recognizing the barriers and self-designed limitations, has also made me reflect on where am I doing that? Where am I settling for less than what is possible? Where am I falling back into those false beliefs about, oh, that's enough, or, oh no, I can't ask for that. I mean, that would be too big. Let me come down to this. And so my favorite resource when I am wanting to consciously tap into receiving more is the chapter in the book, Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, there is a chapter called Divine Givingness. So we're going to start there. Divine givingness. It is the nature of spirit to give. Spirit is the essence of life as well as the intelligence back of everything. It is complete and perfect within itself. It is all power and all presence. We have nothing to offer nature other than a willingness to cooperate with her laws. If we are to demonstrate that the divine givingness is a principle in the universe, then we must set up a receiving center. For no matter how abundantly the horn of plenty may pour out its universal gifts, there must be a bowl of acceptance, a chalice of expectancy, or the gift cannot be complete. Now that's the first paragraph. And I have highlighted with, and then in addition to the highlighting, I have 5 asterisks, 5 stars by the line. If we are to demonstrate that the divine givingness is a principle in the universe, then we must set up a receiving center. Are you a receiving center? Yes. Are you consciously a receiving center? Probably not. Are you a receiving center that is willing to receive all that is possible for you and for your good? This whole idea of receiving is grounded in this idea that spirit, the nature of spirit is to give, and it will give, and it will give, and it will give, 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 give. There is no limit to the giving. But the only way we can receive it is one, if we believe in this principle of givingness and of love, but we are also ready to receive it. Next paragraph. The divine givingness is from eternity to eternity. Our receiving may be spasmodic, but many great souls have, through faith, reached back of the appearance to the cause of things and received directly and constantly from the divine bounty. The reason we do not all do this is because we do not believe that there is a divine givingness. Okay, I'm pausing because you just need to take that in. Right? Do you really, and ask yourself, do I really believe there is a divine givingness that is infinite in nature? Or do I just think about receiving when I feel like I need something, like it's an emergency, or my back is against the wall and I don't know what to do? And then in that moment, I believe, or I do believe that something will give me what I need, almost kind of like rescue me. Or do you apply the spiritual principle of givingness and understand it in a way that you are expecting daily to receive everything that you want and need? Most of us in our human experience, we are receiving consciously, as Ernest Holmes writes, spasmodically, or, it is not a constant, continuous belief. On the other hand, many of us who study and practice science of mind or other new thought principles, we do easily believe that this givingness is providing the overall life like we'll wake up and we'll be so grateful for the sunrise and the sunset at the end of the day. Oh, how beautiful it is. And there is the creator of all of nature and the mountains and the oceans, and we receive all of that impersonal creation, that which has been created, that creates the environment, the world. We may even be thinking about, yes, I receive all that Spirit has to give me. I breathe. The fact that I can take a breath and I am alive in this human form is the greatest gift. It's the greatest gift, maybe, but it is not the only gift. And so much of the gifting that comes from the creator of the universe and all of life is delivered to us through other people. And are we aware and consciously connecting with the divine givingness of Spirit is delivered to me through the words and the actions of other people I come into contact with? Let's go back to Ernest Holmes for a minute. The Spirit not only gives, but it also creates the channels through which this giving may become our receiving. In other words, the bowl of acceptance, which we hold beneath the outpouring horn of plenty, is itself a part of the divine givingness. For how could there be a givingness unless there were an equal receivingness? It is receivingness which fulfills the givingness, and the interaction is complete only when our bowl of acceptance is full. Now, there's an image in that paragraph that every time I read this, I see. And it's in the sentence, the bowl of acceptance which we hold beneath the outpouring horn of plenty. And so I like to imagine myself holding a bowl that's like, not a bowl, but the biggest bowl I might be able to carry or hold once it's full. And there's a horn of plenty, and it is just pouring riches and food and joy and peace, and it's pouring it out. And I'm like, okay, here I am. I'm under the bowl of the horn of plenty with my big bowl, and I'm just catching it all. And then I want a bigger bowl, and then I want a bigger bowl. And that's a little silly, a little silly. But the human brain, or maybe Tracy's brain, sometimes needs the visual to make the words come alive, right? And so when we think about receiving, we've got to understand that what we receive is only limited by the size of the container we are filling. Ernest Holmes goes on to say, we need have no sense of unworthiness, nor should we fall under the illusion that it is spiritual to be poor. Or the equally wrong thought that people who happen to possess enough of this world's good to make life comfortable are thereby unholy. It is the divine will that we should receive. But since we are individuals, even the divine will cannot compel us to receive that which we refuse to accept. Therefore, our part in the divine givingness is to have faith and to cooperate with the law of abundance. In the beginning means before any particular creation takes place, before our request was made, in the beginning, before the treatment was given, the state of being already existed, which makes possible the fulfillment of our desires. There are no prior conditions to impose themselves upon the creation of our desire. So for me, it's helpful to really remember, to start in that place of remembering that the nature of God is to give. And it is up to me to develop and expand my belief in and my willingness to receive. What about you? Is it easy for you to receive? Is it a challenge for you to receive? What for you is the key to receiving that which you desire, to receiving that which you need? What's the key for you? What opens you up to receive and to receive more? I'm really curious. Because when we talk about poetry, prayer, and practice, I think there's so many different pathways that lead us into receiving and receiving more and receiving what we want. It gets a little confusing for some people because they're like, I'm going to manifest this new job. Or I am going to manifest the relationship of my dreams. And manifest, we do. We co-create. We direct the flow of the energy of the universe. And we have clarity about what we want to experience or what we want to have. And we do manifest it. But if we're not careful, we think we're the ones doing it. We think that it's because of our will and our might and our control. Or maybe we think it's because of our good behavior. We manifest it as if it is a reward for our spiritual work, or it is a reward for our work in the physical form or in our human form. And when we get so focused on, I am manifesting these wonderful things in my life, it can be easy to forget that it all begins with the divine givingness of spirit. And my willingness and my ability to receive that goodness. What I just thought about was how many people, based on articles I've read and the research, that many people will buy a lottery ticket and they'll win $1 million or millions of dollars in the lottery. And they have manifested that because maybe they bought a lottery ticket every week for 8 years, and then they manifest this that they have dreamed of and that they have clarity about. One day I'm going to win $1 million in the lottery, and every Thursday they go buy 5 or 10 lottery tickets. And if they are not in alignment with infinite givingness and infinite receiving, a year later or 5 years later, they're broke, or they're back to whatever level of income they had before. But over and over again, we read that story. We read stories about lottery winners. What about your life? Think about your life. You have won the lottery of life. And how much of that do you really accept and put to use? So what's the key for you to receiving fully? And I love that Fiona shares that the key for receiving is simply tuning in. Tuning in to the infinite flow of the universe, tuning in to the unlimited givingness, the giving nature of spirit, tuning in to I am one with spirit. And so, of course, that which I need, desire, expect, believe in, must manifest. So I don't think there's anything wrong with limiting one's good, because it's not right or wrong. I think when we put limits on our good out of fear, out of unworthiness, from a place of low self-esteem, that it's natural. So I don't think of that as wrong. I think of it as, it's something I am imposing on myself. It is the limit I am placing around myself. And when I become ready to receive more, there is nothing that will get in the way of that. There is nothing to fight that. So I'm constantly expanding my understanding of receiving and my practice of receiving. So here's a little spiritual practice you can do. If you are ever at a time where you want to expand your capacity to receive, then every day, one of the things you can do is start looking for that which you are receiving. Now, this is a takeoff on a pretty common practice that many of us take for granted called counting your blessings. But it's the same thing. When I began to keep track of what have I received today, and you can play with that several ways. I like to say, what have I received from spirit today? That works for me because I do believe that when people give me things or do things for me, that the gift is coming from spirit, because we're all connected. So for some people, it's easier or more effective to start keeping track of what did I receive from other people today, because it feels a little more tangible. And the list actually is probably going to be the same. So use whichever one resonates more with you. And today is the first day. Let's say today is the first day I'm doing this. I'm going to have a journal or a notepad or a document open in my in my word processor, in my Word document, or in an email even will work. But you want to write this down. So the first day you do it, you only want to write one thing. What did I receive? What is an example of something I received today? And then on the second day, you write 2 things. On the third day, you write 3 things. On the fourth day, you write 4 things, all the way through for 30 days. And as you're doing this, you are recognizing consciously what you received and being grateful for it. And it trains you to notice. Now, another take on this, because now when I do this, I don't start with one and only write one thing, because I've done this process so many times. If I sit down and just say, what have I received today? It would be easy for me to write like a list of 100. So when I do this now, I either just every day for 30 days, take 5 minutes and write down, what have I received today from Spirit? And I'll write for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on what I decide. And then every day I do that for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And then it becomes almost like, how many things can I write in whatever that time limit is? But it trains me, because even as I'm writing, I notice more of what I am receiving from the infinite bounty of the universe. And I also begin to think of, oh, well, if I have this, I could also have this. Now, in my list, I'm not writing things that I want to receive in the future, but it just opens up my mind and my heart to there's even more. I have this great and wonderful, peaceful, joyful, enriching life. And there's still more I can have. There's more I can receive. And that is what it means to expand your receiving center. I'm going to go back to Ernest Holmes for a minute, and I'm not going to read in sequence, but I'm going to read a few of the additional quotations in this chapter on divine givingness that really support my practice of receiving. Ernest Holmes writes, we should likewise remember that the creative law is one of reciprocity, of reciprocal action, and that it responds by reflection. Since our imaging in it restricts our use of it to the things we image or to our expectation, it follows that to secure better results, we must image, create a new faith, increase our receptivity, enlarge our mental concept, and maintain a more enthusiastic expectation. When we do this, we are starting a new chain of cause and effect. Yes, we are expanding, and we are putting into first cause a bigger receiving pattern. Another quote from later in the chapter is the reminder of the law of mental equivalence, which says that whatever we inwardly conceive, we outwardly experience. And then our mental attitude toward the divine givingness should be simple and direct. We are to accept the gift. We are to look forward to it with anticipation and with enthusiastic attention. We are to maintain an inner joy. And why not? If we are to realize that the divine givingness is the gift of a perfect law of liberty forever made, and if the divine will is the outpouring of spirit into self-expression through us. So for me, I am thinking a lot about the willingness to receive and the capacity to receive. I've been thinking a lot about that. I've been talking a lot with others about that. Expand your receiving center. Allow people to help you. Be blessed by spirit, offering you good through the other people, and to the giver, remembering that it is being used by spirit to offer time, treasure, talent, right? Ideas, thoughts, tangible and intangible gifts. That, when I'm doing something for someone else, yeah, it looks like Tracy's doing it. But so often, truth be told, what has happened is I got a little tap on the shoulder, not literally, right? But I got a little tap on the shoulder. I got a little intuition voice in my head that whispered, oh, why don't you give this to person A? Or little whisper, you haven't talked to person B in a couple of months. Why don't you check on them? And then I check on them and find out they need something I can easily do or give. And I'm like, oh, there's only one thing happening here. And that one mind, that universal mind, that one life was magnetically attracting two people who needed each other in that moment. It's simple. It's really simple. So I'm going to take just a little break. I'm going to invite you to think about what you can give if you are receiving from the New Thought Media Network. And then I'm going to come back and do a little bit more on receiving from the perspective of, are you ready to receive?
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.
I like just giving you that reminder that there are ways for you to be involved in the New Thought Media Network as well. You could be behind the scenes producing some of the shows, or maybe you have a show idea that you think really represents how we take new thought philosophy into action in the world. And so if you are inspired in any way to volunteer, to help, to learn how to use your computer to spread the spiritual truth in the world, then I encourage you to donate, and I encourage you that you could also volunteer. A few years ago, I was really focused on working on my own willingness and capacity to receive. And some of you may be familiar with an entire 28-day process that I developed called Are You Ready to Receive? RURTR is the acronym, but Are You Ready to Receive? And I went through this process for 28 days. And then I walked away from it for 3 months, or not for 3 months, for 2 months. And then at the beginning of the next quarter, I did the 28-day process again. And then I took 2 months off of consciously and intentionally doing the process. And, and I just watched what I received and how I received and my comfort with receiving. I just watched it expand. And I don't think there's any magic in the process, honestly. I think it's like anything else. When we focus on it, it must manifest. And if we focus on it and we have prepared ourselves to actually receive that which is being created, then we are able to accept it and incorporate it into our lives and into the way we show up in the world. So that was one of the reasons why once I created, this process of, here is a daily affirmation related to receiving. And here is a prayer that I'm going to use every day for 28 days. It's like, okay, so I've got this process. And if I did 28 and then immediately the next 28 and the next 28, I think one of two things would happen. I would either start taking it for granted or I would start skipping. So it was easy to say, I'm going to do these 28 days and I'm going to practice. And then I'm going to watch to see how it shows up in my life. I'm going to experience it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to intend it, and then I'm going to experience it. And so for a full year, right, the first month of the quarter, actually, that's not true. The reason it's a 28-day process is so that it can work even in February. And I did the first time I designed it in January and I started it in February. And so the second month of each quarter, I went through the process. And there's no magic to it where I need to tell you, you need to sign up for my Are You Ready to Receive workshop. I mean, I will probably offer it at some point again. And I would love for you to sign up for it. But that's really not the point. The magic isn't in Tracy's Are You Ready to Receive process. The magic is in you deciding that you want to receive more good, more joy, more love, more beauty, more wholeness, more of life, that you want to receive more of that, not only personally, but through your relationships with other people. You developing an affirmation or a statement that means something to you, not listing all the things that you want, but that allow you to claim your ability to receive. So, for example, one of my kind of morning manifestos was, I am ready to receive my good. I am ready to experience my best life ever. I love my life. My life is unfolding perfectly. Like I would just start repeating all of these kinds of statements and believing them, repeating them and repeating them over and over because they resonated with me. Does that make sense? So that's what you can do if you are ready to receive. Now, I am really grateful that I am not easily rattled by the technology, because I cannot tell you what happened that made the beautiful background disappear. What I can tell you is that, background or not, it doesn't change the message. It doesn't change what I'm thinking about or how I'm feeling about it. But I will acknowledge that the background disappeared just now, and that's okay, because you and I are still right here. So I want to take maybe another 3 or 4 minutes to pull my thoughts together and to encourage you to ask yourself this question. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being 100%, where would you rate yourself as a receiver of the infinite bounty of the universe? How would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 as a receiver of the infinite bounty of the universe? If you're like me, your first reaction is, well, it depends. On some days I'm at 10, and on other days I'm at 1. Okay, that's probably true for all of us. But overall, and maybe if it's helpful, ignore this if it's not helpful, but if it's helpful, if we say, look at the last 12 months, from whatever day you are hearing this, watching this, look and think about the last 12 months. Overall, in those 12 months, what would be your number of rating yourself on your willingness and ability and your experience of receiving the infinite bounty of the universe? Now, my number is, if I look back over the last 12 months and take a deep breath, the number that comes up for me is 8.5. I had a really great year in 2022, and in the early part of 2023, I'm really busy, just the way I like it. And the relationships that I have, the friendships, the relationships, it's like, oh, I am receiving just about everything that I know I believe I can have. And I'm also really aware that there are a few things that in the last year that were available to me, but I talked myself out of them, or I didn't accept the gift that someone wanted to offer me, or I hesitated a little too long. And I can see that in hindsight, even though at the time I didn't really think I was doing that. And 8.5 is a pretty high number, in my opinion. I will admit there were years when I first started doing the Are You Ready to Receive work for myself. I would probably have said I was a 4.5 or a 5 overall. And I had a good life. I mean, there wasn't anything major wrong in my life. So it is the work that I want to encourage you to do. I want to encourage you to think about, what will it take for you to receive more, to receive graciously, to receive all of the gifts of spirit, and to receive those gifts not only in the mysterious ways of spirit, but through people that you come into contact with. That's our challenge. And I hope that you will join me next week on Poetry, Prayer, and Practice, and that you might be willing to put in the chat some experiences that you have had this week in receiving your good. And I'm going to end with my Are You Ready to Receive Morning Manifesto? So we're going to go out with this prayer and manifesto. I am ready to receive my good. I am ready to experience my best life ever. Every morning I wake up is automatically a good day. I am alive. I am grateful. Nothing can spoil my day, and no one can take my joy away. Everything I need is provided, and all that I desire is available. I live a green light life. There are no stop signs or traffic lights blocking the delivery of my best good. I welcome all good into my life, and I generously share my good with others. I am in the flow of life. My hands and my heart are open wide to give and to receive. It is a joy to give because I know the source of my good is unlimited. I can never run out of anything I want or need. It is a blessing to receive because the more I receive, the more good I can do in the world. I live in a friendly, generous, loving universe. I give in a friendly, generous, loving way. So beginning right now, right here, I accept the best life has to offer and release anything and everything that no longer serves me. I am ready to receive my good.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next week. Or watch on demand at www.ntmedia.org or youtube.com/NewThoughtMedia Network. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring. Learn more at www.ntmedia.org.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.